We are here today with John G. Thomas, who is seeking the Ward 4 seat on the Springfield City Council in the April 2nd election. We appreciate you being here today and invite you to start by providing an opening statement that introduces voters to who you are and tells us a little bit about why you're seeking this office.
Yep. My name is John G. Thomas. I've been a Springfield resident all my life. In fact, my parents have been Springfield residents all their life also. My father passed 11 years ago. I've been living on the North End. When I was born, I was on 19th Street. I moved to Fairfield Drive, which was established by Barker Lubin, which was a North End company. I went to Fairview Elementary School, moved to Edison Middle School, and graduated from Lanphier High School in 1980, which is all in Ward 4 right there. I have taken a semester of classes, business classes at Lincoln Land Community College. At age 29, I bought the business from my parents after they kind of faulted a little bit in some tax payments. I went out and found a backer to buy the business. I bought the buildings and everything, and then after 6 months running it, I was able to get a secured loan with a little bit of cosigner from the gentleman to buy the business, and I've owned it for 28 years, so I have a lot of business skills underneath my belt. Not only do I have business skills, I have street smarts. I've been around quite a bit. I've seen the public. I know all the streets in Ward 4, let alone the rest of the streets in the city. I know the streets that need a little attention, and I know the streets that have had too much attention. Let's put it that way. And I'm here for the public is who I'm here for. I'm not doing this for my own reputation. I'm doing this for the reputation of Springfield, Illinois. I think there is areas that do need to be addressed, definitely by Ward 4 candidate right here, and I can be a big person to seek those changes in Springfield, Illinois, and I want a voice to help you out, and I want our Springfield, Illinois to be prosperous again. We've had some little bit of problems with some of the debts that we've accrued, and I think we can get out of them by good management. I'm a great manager of business. So stating that, I'd appreciate all the support I could get in Springfield.
Well, you said there are areas you feel that need attention. There are issues that need to be addressed in Ward 4. Let's start right there. What issues do you find pressing in Ward 4?
Well, in Ward 4, most of our revenue comes from Dirksen Parkway, and I feel that area has kind of been put aside. I know that we have Route 66 that we're wanting to sponsor and kind of rejuvenate, and sadly to say, Route 66 has been one of those passerby areas right there. Saying that, though, it looks like the Fairgrounds is going to gain some revenue, so they're going to get a little bit of remodeling and makeover right there. And maybe we need to get a little bit of attention in getting some more hotels, motels interested going around there so we could have housing for people that do come to the fair for the horse shows and everything like that. And we need to also sponsor our parks. We have two great parks. We have Riverside Park out there and Carpenter Park that people can get out and just kind of see what it's like to be, you know, in nature instead of being in all this cinder block area that we have buildings and everything like that. Also, I looked into a bike path, and I had some proposals of bike paths given to me in 2012, and there's supposed to be a bike path possibly made along Dirksen Parkway all the way out to Riverside Park. I haven't heard nothing about this, and this is one of the parts that I want to do. It seems like every other area of Springfield, Illinois has a bike path, has a walk path to get out and enjoy nature that way. And if you've ever walked down Dirksen Parkway, you're taking your life in your own hands, let alone everybody else's hands that are driving down there. You know, you got stoplights and everything, but a lot of them are rushing through the yellow lights, and it's very dangerous. There's a sidewalk on the east side, but there's no sidewalk on the west side. There's a perfect area where there used to be a railroad yard going right behind all the Menards, and right in front of Menards, east of Twin Lakes, all the way down to the overpass that I think we could develop there and make a big difference in Ward 4. Also, we do have some of the streets, the numbered streets that don't have curbing, and I'm sure the infrastructure is a little bit of damage. We need to get in there and redo their sewage system, their drainage system. I am the president of Twin Lakes for the past 3 years, and I know drainage is a very important issue. We have some drainage issues right there that I make sure they're cleaned out. We do have some retention ponds. We call them lakes, but they're really retention ponds that hold the water. And you got to get that water cleared out or it'll flood your basements. In fact, my mother still lives on Fairfield Drive, and I remember being a kid that we had a little bit of sewer problem, and all this stuff come up through our basement sewage area, and it was terrible. So we need to make sure that we have an infrastructure problem under control. And of course, Northgate. The east part of Northgate, when it rains, they'll have 6 inches of water in their streets. We need to address this. I know it's going to take a lot of money to do that, but these are the areas that I want to point out. Stating that, I want to get out and I want to survey the area. I just don't want to sit in one area and have people come to me. I want to go out and reach out to people. I want to be for the people. I want to hear their concerns. I want to hear their concerns and everybody else's concerns, and then I'll evaluate that and we'll go further with it, and I'll bring it to the committees, to the boards, to the city council, however I can do to make it the best. And I want to have relationships with everybody so they get to know who I are.
Okay. So you're saying these are the issues you see in Ward 4. You are taking on the incumbent of the seat who's seeking another
yes,
term.
I am. Mm-hmm.
So why challenge the incumbent? Do you feel they're not addressing these issues as well as they could be? Do you feel you could do a better job at that? Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I'm 56 years old. I'm very capable of getting out and walking the streets. I've been in customer service for the last 28 years because I own my own business. I'm not only working on their vehicles, I'm meeting and greeting these people that have problems with their vehicles, and I'm explaining to them why they need to repair their vehicles also. That's a big part of life, is making people know what the problem is, making them aware of the problem, and fixing the problem. I'm a fixer. The incumbent right now is starting to get up in his age right now. I'm not taking nothing away from him there, but I just think at this point in time, I am more of a better representative. I really am not a politician, but I want to be a representative of Ward 4.
Okay.
Going to citywide issues, one of the pressing issues with Springfield right now is homelessness and trying to cope with that. What roadblocks do you see in addressing the homelessness issue, and how would you as an elected official work to solve it?
Well, I own my automotive shop at 1140 West Jefferson, which isn't in Ward 4, but every day I see the homeless people walk down the streets. They hold the signs right there, especially at Madison and MacArthur. They aren't really approaching people. They're kind of harmless. But what I see mainly is their addictions. They have addictions. If there's any way that we can help them, it's not to feed them. It's about getting them help with their addictions. There is plenty of areas for them to go around town to get their 3 meals a day, to get their bread. I know my wife works at Snooks, and the bread line comes in every day, and they get the old bread out of them that is almost ready to expire, which the state replenishes Snooks their money and stuff like that. So there is venues for them to eat, and we do make sure that they have shelters. But a lot of them realize that they can't have their addiction and be in the shelters, so they're kind of turned away. So we need to address that.
What programs do you think, how would you go about, how should the city try to do that?
Well, I imagine you would pick them up. I know where I'm at 1140 West Jefferson, I bought the building at 1136. When I was a kid, that was Alcoholics Anonymous. And I know that Alcoholics Anonymous has helped several people out. Not only do they come to meetings, but they have sponsors. So if these individuals do have problems, they can call their sponsors up, and maybe they can kind of explain to them to calm them down, you know, that the addiction is what's driving their homelessness, that they need to get out there and they need to maybe find a job. I know the jobs that are minimum wage it's a problem right now for these homeless, because they go in, they're all excited about having a job for themselves. Well, 2 weeks later, they're getting this paycheck that's probably less money than what they would get if they were on assistance. And maybe we need a system, even if they do get a job, to help them out a little bit.
Okay. Another equally important issue facing the city would be economic development. And what do you think, we've argued the city needs to do a better job of addressing that. How would you say the city should go about attracting business to Springfield?
Well, I think, first of all, when a company comes to town, the entrances are kind of their first exposure to the town. We definitely need to make sure that they're clean, the trash are picked up, and have welcoming signs at every entrance. That way, when they come to town, they say, boy, these people really want us here, you know? They're not trying to say, get out of town and stuff like that. So that's initially where I'd want to start. The economical part of what I got going on Dirksen Parkway is I have so many food restaurants, they're competing with each other. They can only handle so much people going to the restaurants. I'm not sure if I want to bring more restaurants into Dirksen Parkway, but I want to sustain what's already there. I want to make sure that they succeed. Now, economic development, I think that I know the auto industry real well. I know Bloomington has had a Diamond Star there, and they've lost that. Now they've attracted another electric truck plant. And I don't think we have the right people to go out and attract these people that really can talk their language, what we could do with automotive field to bring back in here. Of course, we had Fiat Alice back in the day. We had Weaver back in the day, which were great plants. They probably made their product too well. I still have some jacks and some lifts down at my shop that we bought back in the 30s from Weaver because they made them so good. Well, nowadays, everybody's wanting disposable products. Maybe we ought to bring back quality again, let them know that we have quality brands in Springfield, in the United States, and America, and stuff like that. Maybe that'll help us sell stuff instead of selling disposable items.
You said, I want to make sure I understood this, you said you don't have people who maybe talk the car dealerships or owners language, like someone who can.
Why would they want to bring automotive industry to town?
Okay.
Yes, because first of all, we're right in between Chicago and St. Louis.
Okay.
That's obvious that I-55 is right there. We have access to distribution of these vehicles to two main cities in the world, you know, and they're in O'Hara. They just claimed that O'Hara is the #1 airport in the world. I know that probably can't transport cars on airplanes, but there is other products that we could get up to Chicago and transport out there also. It's just that I'm very smart about business, being as I've been in it for 28 years. I haven't been schooled as much as it's self-taught, and I can conceive the possibility of us getting bigger and making a product and being able to ship it all over the world, if not just in the United States itself.
The city and the county are part of the public-private partnership that brought in the New Economic Development Corporation. Is that something you're supportive of the county having an EDC that takes that regional approach to economic development?
Well, I'm not as schooled on that, so I can't really say a lot of the things that I've been coming across. I will tell you that I've been Googling it, I've been reading it, I've been evaluating it, and going from there with my answers. I don't know everything what you're saying right there, so I probably would be right to just back off of that and maybe study that and say that for a future.
Got it.
They did a report, though, prior to the formation of the EDC in terms of the potential obstacles out here for Springfield and Sangamon County. Had you had a chance to read that?
No, I hadn't. No,
okay.
No.
Okay.
Well, as a business owner, what do you see as obstacles for business owners here?
Well, right now, not mainly me because I'm a tradesman, but other businesses right now are getting attacked by Amazon and the mail order stuff right there. And not only is the businesses getting attacked, Springfield, Illinois is getting attacked by it too because we're losing out on sales tax revenue right there. That's the major concern. Possibly accessibility in some of the areas that they can't get to. The east side, I don't know if you've drove east of 11th Street. It's not in very good shape at all. I think that the city of Springfield needs to concentrate on that. And there is some dilapidated houses over there that, of course, people do live in. That would be an area, I think, that we could attract some factories to represent, where it wouldn't be retail, but it'd be more of a factory area where we could possibly clear some areas out and help some people get in different areas that'd be more feasible instead of putting money in the infrastructure there. And then maybe we could get some big factories to move in and buy the property to help out employment also. tax revenue and everything else.
Okay.
The last few years, the city had some tight financial times, a little bit better footing right now as we're going into this most recent budget. But the previous 2 years, city council members have approved tax increases, the hotel motel, sales tax, natural gas. I think I might be missing one in there. I know there we go. I realize you weren't on council for those votes, but explain how you would have voted on those measures had you been a member of city council at that time.
Yeah, I reviewed those this morning. I mean, there are some necessities there. Most of those votes kind of got suspended with the council, and then it got brought up, and they passed it after they seen the budget was going to be short, I think $3.5 million like that or something like that. So it did get passed through. I mean, you got to look at it. I was looking at a couple statements earlier of the graphing of how much money of our property taxes go to everywhere, and I was totally surprised that most of our property taxes go towards public schools, which I think is very valuable because that is our future. But the problem is most people are moving out of Springfield, Illinois because of the schools. They're taking their children, they're moving to the outskirts, so there must be some reason why the out-of-town schools are doing a little bit better than Springfield schools. My kids went to Athens because I'm a divorced parent. They moved them out to Athens, but my wife's parents at this present time, they all went to Springfield schools, and they did well. I think we need more role models in the schools right now where people need to show up and let these kids know that you do have a future, but it's not going to come automatically. You're going to have to study. You don't have to be a technical genius to be successful. There's trades out there. Trades are everywhere. I know. I'm a tradesman. That's why I can say that that's a fact. And you can always learn on the run as you're doing your trades. Now, I did notice also that people have said in our budget that people should live in town to work for the city areas. I know I'm getting off track here, but not a lot of this money goes towards the city of Springfield that comes into your property taxes, but the big part of it is going towards pensions, fire pensions and police pensions. So going back to the original question, which was what?
If you had been on council at the time, how do you think you would have voted?
I would have probably voted yes for them, yes.
For tax increases.
So speaking of residences or residency,
Yeah.
are you in favor of that or not? What?
Well, for the first responders, I would have to say I'd want them to live in the city, and that's looked like what we're going to do with our fireman contract, But for like city water line power workers and stuff like that, I see no problem with them living in Chatham, Rochester, Riverton, as long as they're kind of in the area out of town and everything, because I don't think we get as much revenue from that as what we do the other areas. And there is going to be people filling those voids up in those houses that they won't be building. People will be still living there. I think the biggest issue with people moving out, though, is because of schooling. You'll talk to most of them, and, well, I'm not going to send my kids to public schools. I'm going to take them out to Rochester and Chatham's, the big schools right now. That's where everybody's taking their kids and putting them in. That's where they want to move. And those towns are flourishing.
Just to clarify, why would you favor having first responders living in the city but not necessarily other employees?
Well, the first responders are the ones that save lives. They save buildings. If let's hope it never happens, our big 30-story building catches fire right here, we're going to need more than just the people that's on that day. We're going to have to get them in here and get them in here quick, not just to fight the fire, but to make sure.
Just the response time of if they're
response,
needed.
yes, exactly.
You brought up schools need investment in schools. The November election, we did see that sales tax pass. With that money, will be going back to the schools. Did you support that then?
I would have had it. I think I voted no. I hate to say that, but I think that there is other areas of revenue we could have done than sales tax. If we want to talk about taxes, I've mentioned in a couple of my surveys that I've taken that I think if we're going to tax anywhere, it's going to have to be a pleasure tax. Pleasure tax means restaurants, stuff that people don't have to have for necessities. Entertainment tax. Like if you go to the rock show at the Civic Center or a country show at the Civic Center, I think we ought to possibly tax those type of venues, because if you don't want to pay the tax, you don't have to go to the show. If you don't want to pay the restaurant tax, we can go back to old school. We go to the grocery store. We turn the stove on and we cook our own food, you know. I mean, it's going to have to get back to basics, getting back again to the disposable economy that we live in. You talk to people in the Depression, they hang on to their stuff. They make their stuff last. They take care of it. And I think we've gotten to the point right now where we just keep on spending more money, and then people have to generate more money, or it's a deck of cards. Our deck of cards are falling down, and we need to stack them back up again.
So a couple of things going on in the State House, maybe even today, that would affect you as a resident of Springfield, but maybe more importantly as a resident of, or as a small business owner. One's minimum wage hike, and another maybe, there's not as much talk about that, but tax on services. So is there currently a tax on service you provide in your shop?
Well, that'd probably be what on labor is what they're talking about, services. There is not on that, but being I'm kind of a sole proprietor, I get double taxed on that. So I'm getting slammed pretty hard on a double tax area right there when you're a sole proprietor. It's not like in corporation where you pretty much have a board and you work for everybody.
Oh,
now,
I see. Yeah.
Now I am an LLC, so a sole proprietor kind of gets double taxed right there. And then we go to the minimum wage. The minimum wage would not hurt me very much. I mean, I have two other gentlemen that work for me that I've trained, and they'd be deserving of $15 if we got to the $15. But where it's going to hurt is my wife's business, the grocery business right there. You know, you're getting baggers in there, and you're getting the kids going out there and collecting grocery carts. It's going to hurt that because you're going to see extended area and prices for your food.
Right.
And it goes the same thing with the fast food restaurants. I had that on a survey, and I think we ought to take it slow. I think we ought to add it up, and I think by 2025 was the set date I thought we should get to $15 an hour. So not only would that benefit them, but, you know, if I wanted to retire, I think I could live off $15 an hour too by being a bagger.
So one of the things that the mayor's proposed occasionally is annexing the fairgrounds. You've been close by there.
Yes, I have.
What was your thought about that, or reaction?
Well, I would love for it to get annexed after all the repairs were done. I wouldn't want to take on the debt that it has to have right now. I do have some connections on the inside of the fairgrounds, and they've been working on all the roofs. They've been trying to get the roofs done first because that's what you got to do. Any homeowner knows that if your roof leaks, everything else is going to deteriorate. So we got to start with the roofs. We got to get the Coliseum back. We got to get the horse shows back. There's plenty of room in that grandstand for entertainment. They've tried to do entertainment before, but I don't think there's been enough promotion for it. And I think the city would gain in revenue if we helped promote it. I mean, why should it just be the promoter promoting it if we're going to gain revenue off of people coming to our town, staying in hotels, eating out, putting gas in their cars, you know, using the food and everything else that goes along with the city. So I think there's area right there if we could promote it, you know, put it on billboards, say sponsored by the city of Springfield and stuff like that. So the more people we bring into town, the more revenue we're going to gain.
That goes into one of our questions is tourism has been an oft talked about topic the last year. Mm-hmm. How do you think the city could better leverage its attractions and amenities to attract more people?
Again, we go back and cleaning up the entranceways. I mean, you got to have a clean entranceway when you come into town. I know I've gone through Memphis before, and I got to that town, and I'm like, wow, I want to get out of this town because it looked a little dark. And dark, I mean, you know, light. And it looked a little scary right there. So we make it more approachable to come in town. I have been on the board in the past for the Greater Springfield Bowling Association, was our bowling community. We had over 2,000 members. I was the president for 2 years. We run a Central Illinois bowling tournament every February out at Kingpin Lanes. And we've contacted the tourism before, and we generate $1.5 million for the city of Springfield through this tournament in February. So I'm familiar on what you bring into town can generate revenue for our city of Springfield right there. So tourism is a big thing for me. The Lincoln attractions, I think, are huge. Of course, we probably promote that quite a bit. Volunteers, I don't know how we could get more volunteers down there to be friendly and direct them, maybe dress up like they do at New Salem more often, have them kind of walking through the streets to make people feel like they're back in the day, you know, when Lincoln was roaming the streets. And I know you're going to ask me about that Y block.
That is my next question. Literally my next question.
The Y block is very important for me. Not only it's right downtown, but it's across the street from the governor's mansion, and there's a couple events that go on downtown. The Route 66 is one of the biggest one right there. Mm-hmm. We attract people from all over this country, and we attract people from around the world for that too. Now, if they bring their children, what are these kids going to do? They're probably going to bug their parents to death. If we had some type of park in there, in fact, in Chillicothe, I go there every year for an event, and they have a splash park in there. It would not take the whole area up, but it would be entertainment for these kids during the summer to go down there and splash park. What would come with the splash park? We could have entertainment. We could have a movie theater. When I was a kid, we had Roxy, Lincoln, and the Senate down here. That attracted all kinds of people to downtown Springfield. Not only would they go to the show, they might go out to eat a little bit before the show, you know, and maybe go have a cocktail afterwards. So it's not only you're bringing a movie theater down here, but you're attracting other people to come here to stay around town. The Uber thing has come a long way. I know that when they clamp down on DUIs, people got a little bit scared of staying out and maybe spending their dollars in social events and stuff. But the Uber part needs to be promoted around town also and sponsored. And also goes along with our splash park and our movie theater would be some type of retail space, some souvenir area, a hot dog stand, something that people could be downtown and get a quick lunch, and, you know, could generate population down there. The Cons have done a wonderful thing with their little area over here. I remember Cons Catering used to be right next to the Senate Theater, and that's just an example right there what the movie theater could help out another business because they helped Cons Catering. Not only he was able to serve inexpensive food, but he was able to promote his catering business too, which he's excelled in also. Now his children are doing this other Obed and Isaac's things, which is wonderful for the city of Springfield.
What do you think of the proposal that Senator Menard put forward for SIU to be on the Y block, or UIS has also talked about having a downtown?
Right, I would like for them to move to downtown, of course, because that would bring youth into downtown. And when it comes to youth does spend their parents' money or their loans and stuff like that. I think that we have other buildings that could support that. Mm-hmm. We have Benedictine right now that just closed on my end of town. I don't think that's in Ward 4, but it's right there button up next to Ward 4. And going with Benedictine, I know I'm getting off again. What my north end needs a supportive living area for my older residents that love living in the north end and all their family living in the north end. Right now they have to move west, and then their children aren't as close to them, and they probably don't feel as comfortable. They probably feel at that age they've had to move out of town instead of being comfortable in the north end area.
Mm-hmm. Okay. One of the other Y blocks is arguably a hot topic around town. We'd argue another one is, should Capital Township be merged, and if so, with the city or the county? Where would you stand there?
I would probably with the city. I'm thinking
why?
The city would be, Capital Township, I'm pretty sure it's the one on Terminal Road, and I stopped by and talked to that gentleman about that, and he said he's very underfunded right now. We have areas in the Capital Township that have dumping which looks terrible. Interurban is out there by my area right now, and for some reason it seems like people think it's a dump site. They take their trucks down there, they throw their mattresses out, they throw their chairs out. Well, this poor gentleman's got a very little bit of funding, but he's still having to clean up this area and to make the city of Springfield more approachable on some of the entryways into my subdivision, Twin Lakes. And I think that we could be beneficial to those guys. I want to say he said he's had something like 60 miles of areas that he's got to plow and stuff like that. But I would like the city to take on the township, not the county.
Did you see there's a recent series of articles in Governing Magazine that argued Springfield has multiple race-based inequalities? Did you see that?
Well, I didn't do that, but I read on a different area that we are very racial divided, yes.
Yeah. How do you think the city can go about improving race relations then?
Well, it all starts with schooling. I mean, we all want to hire talent, of course. And of course, I said hands-on training is a great way to do. Interviewing would be very good, and to make the people know that they're coming for interview, there's a way to interview. You should be professionally looking when you come to these interviews, showing that you are excited about getting this job. You're wanting to put your all in it. And being on time to your interview is a major step when you go for interview also. So all these things come together, and again, you want to make sure you get the right people for the right job. Maybe make it more available to them. Maybe we could have job fairs in the areas that they live to maybe get better candidates. It's one of those tough little things that we do need to do improvements, but we probably need to do some brainstorming about it with a bunch of different people instead of just one individual person.
Well, we thank you, John, for meeting with us today, and we invite you to give a brief closing statement as to why voters should choose you to prevail on Election Day.
Well, I've been always a face of the north end of Springfield, and I want to be a face of the city council and the whole part of Springfield, Illinois. I think I've been dedicated to America, Illinois, and Springfield myself, and I think I could do a wonderful job for you people. Not only will I represent you, but I'll be like your family. I'll be a personal representation for you. I will have a Facebook page, which I'm creating right now for Ward 4, for all your concerns. I will have a phone for you guys to leave a message, and I guarantee that I will somehow get back to you and listen to your concern. Of course, you know, there is some time constraints from me, but I will make sure that I will be there for the public, and I want to serve the public. I'm at 56 years old. I have a lot of experience in life, and I want to share it with you. Actually, what I'm doing is I'm volunteering my knowledge for the people. I understand that you might not want to vote for me, but I appreciate if you do support me, and I think my volunteering would go a long way. I will not be disappointed if I don't get elected, and I will continue to support Ward 4 in the city of Springfield, and I thank you for this time.